Hey, Gun. Yeah. They know what time it is.
I got so much energy.
Gun Decker, you know how we coming, yeah, it's run DFS where we don't just play it, we run it. Weather for the long, couple dawns, a couple of buckets, guaranteed to chat. Check a bag like we carrying luggage round here. Everybody fam, we don't care about the budget round here. You can turn your cash to a couple of hundred round here. No days off, every day we be hustling, tell them good luck, God bless, go win you some money. Get a pen and a pad and come see where it really take you. Went from 50-50 cash in a hit in the milli maker. Got the updated news and the status on any player. The chalk of the night, do we lock it or do we fade it? They ask me how I'm doing, I tell them I feel it blessed. If you want a slow grind, go place a single bet. Trying to get rich, parlays or boost the odds. Soon you'll be cashing and dancing with the stars. NBA, NFL, the MLB up in VIP. Balling like we want a GPP. 15 minutes to lock and there's a DMP, no sweat. We gon' figure that out and we'll still bing. But remember that it's a marathon and not a race. You gotta put your heart in it no matter how long it takes. 8, 9, 10 next got me sitting in first place. Top value player of the day, let's break the slate.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. Man, it's rare that we can hang out on a Thursday. It's usually some nonsensical 2-gamer. Instead, we have a nonsensical 4-gamer. And I was like, why not? Let's keep the streak alive. So we are going to talk about tonight's 4-gamer. There's a ton of news and notes that have already come out, so that's a plus. And it's a little later lock than usual, so we have a little bit more time to prepare for it and do a little bit of research. But shout out to you guys, shout out to live chat. What up? Everyone hates Chris, Juju, Pellets, Crispy, James, Vic, Doug, Eric. I hope you guys are all doing well. Earth to Air. Is it 3 days in a row? Yo, is chat broken again on the stream? That's not a good. I guess there's no reason to. No, there it is. Okay, there it is. Yeah, Eric, 3 days in a row. So usually, if I have obligations somewhere else at a time slot, that's usually the time slot we're live. Well, then I just have to forego the stream. But luckily for today, it's a late lock, so I still had an hour gap to put out some content and then still have the pre-lock voice chat. So it just all worked out. So I'm glad that it did. What up, Ayo? What up, Dylan? Grizzlies money line. Grizzlies are favorited, right? 2.5. So you're getting worse odds on the money line, right? You're paying some tax. So yeah. What up, Ducking? Hope you're doing all right. What up, Dylan? Happy Thursday to you guys. How'd you guys do last night? So last night was a bigger slate. We loved Jokic, 82 fantasy points, 11.8K on DraftKings, 43 real points. So the way my angle last night was I thought that the Spurs guy was going to get too much ownership and it was too volatile. And that's kind of what happened. And I'm not, victory lapping that because I understood the play. But Charles Bassey last night clocked 20 minutes. He had 4 fouls in those 20 minutes. Gorgie Zhang 24 minutes. And then the Roby got 8. So I was really worried that we wouldn't really get a 30-plus minute game out of Bassey, and he's over-projected and maybe over-owned. And it just kind of worked out that way. Sure, the scoreboard got away as well. But anyway, it's hunches like that made me say that on FanDuel, I'll take Daniel Gafford, and then I'll just win the position with raw points. And I always had Jokic the top of my projection board, so I was just taking him and letting everybody else have the volatility. So that worked out for me. Steph Curry worked out as well, and it could have been even better. He played just 30 minutes before getting hurt. Loved Damian Lillard at 2-3% own against the worst defense in basketball. So a lot of those big-time stud plays that I liked came through. What kind of hurt me was some of the mid-tiers that I had a lot of. So Bogdan Bogdanović was an example. I guess he kind of salvaged, but at 28 fantasy points on DK, I had too much. And then on FanDuel, I got backdoored into way more Draymond Green than I wanted. It was just one of those mid-tier power forward spots that I just had to fill out. And then I had a lot of Markelle Fultz to overcome it. So it was a profitable night, but I didn't have that all moons aligned thing. So it was a night where a lot of my GPP takes came through, but then a lot of my just grunt work guys filling out lineups just wouldn't deliver. Pascal Siakam was another guy I was pretty juiced on, and then Fred VanVleet had a big night. Let me pull up Toronto. 1 point game in Toronto. Siakam just 33 DKP in 43 minutes, and it just didn't deliver. So another one of my stands that fell through. And then Gary Trent. Had a lot of Gary Trent on FanDuel. Not what you want, just 25 minutes, 14 fantasy points. So a couple of those guys that couldn't hold their weight. But otherwise, it was a profitable night. We will always take profit. Glad some takes came through, but you just wish that those nights where your 3%er takes and your bad chalk takes come through, that it would all align to have a takedown. But we didn't have that last night. But maybe tonight, Let's get caught up on chat. By the way, chat, let me know how the music is. I went back and listened yesterday. I thought the music was a little too loud. But maybe I'm just a boomer. So if the music's too loud or too low, holla at me. What up, Ducking? Ducking said I had effing Murray. Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray, 32 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds. Not great. Not what you want. What up, MMZ? Hit a top 5 in a DK daily dollar. Dude, that's pretty cool, man. Congrats. What up, Golf? Merry Christmas to you. Whew, Christmas. Woo, 10 days. That just snuck up on me right there. I just had a moment. How do you feel about CJ 14.5 points? I haven't. We'll get to that game. I guess I would feel lukewarm about it. No reason to not. But I'm gonna be pretty high on Zion when we get there. Had Fultz in all 3 of my lines. Man, that one felt good because Fultz has certainly been volatile results wise. But if you kept reading between the lines, like if in a neutral game script, it looks like there was room for 30+ minutes if he was out of foul trouble, and we just hadn't got either one of those scenarios. And last night it happened, and we got a 50 bomb. A lot of steals, a lot of stocks, but I'm happy. Boomer here says, huh? What? I'm a boomer in my circles, man. Denver's Murray. Oh, Jamal Murray. Oh, okay. Dang. Not dogging the play, but man, that's unique to get to Jamal Murray on a slate last night with all those guards. Fultz smash, just like we predicted, just like it. Looks like the entire Miami team. Bro, in the spreadsheet, I wrote the for short outs, and I put rest of team GTD. Well, let's talk some basketball. Let's go game by game here. If you guys get the vibes right, get the likes right, we'll get cranked up. This stream, as always, brought to you by RunDFS.com. That's the place where we don't just play DFS. we run DFS. If you guys want to get behind the paywall, get into the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. Get into pre-lock voice chat. Late lock today, we get to hang out a little bit more. Go to RunDFS.com, click VIP memberships. Find something that's right for you. Each one of our passes come with a Fantasy Cruncher credit. So if you are looking to manage a portfolio of lineups, I personally use Fantasy Cruncher. You can be in that Discord and be like, yo, Gun, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I'll be like, all right, here's how I do it. Yeah. We still have the Black Friday deal that I activated, Cyber 2-3. If you guys want to take $100 off of the 2023 year pass, and then so it's, I guess, on the schedule. After this stream, I'll be in the Discord. We'll kind of have it abbreviated. I guess we'll be fine. But I do need to launch the NFL spreadsheet, so that's probably going to take me 10 minutes to launch it. And we'll do all that. So if you guys want to play some NFL tonight as well, we'll try and double dip, right? What up, Caleb? Hope you're doing all right. What up, EB? All right, let's jump into the slate here. Only 4 games. Should be pretty simple, all things considered, to peruse through. Before we do that, let's go check out Underdog. Let's refresh it, make sure there's nothing that we missed. It feels weird being live this late. Nothing big. Time Lord's gonna debut mañana. That's good. All right, so all the other stuff pertaining to this slate, we already knew, and we'll address when we get there. Miami Heat at the Houston Rockets. First game on the docket. Project starting 5 for the Heat. Maybe Tyler Hero, Max Strus, Caleb Martin, Jimmy G, buckets, and Bam Adebayo. Maybe up against Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Eric Gordon, Jabari Smith, and Alperen Şengün. Pulling up the Miami Heat injury news and notes. So here's what we do know: Kyle Lowry, Dwayne Dedmon, Victor Oladipo, Gabe Vincent, Omar Yurtseven are for sure out. I put rest of team GTD. I believe Jimmy's officially probable, but let's read through the rest. I would personally probably lean that everyone else is in. That's not officially out, but that could be irresponsible. Duncan Robinson, left ankle sprain, probable. Caleb Martin, left ankle irritation, is listed as questionable. So I guess we'll see about that. He's not a guarantee to play. Bam Adebayo, left ankle sprain, questionable. Heater on a back-to-back, so it wouldn't be surprising if Adebayo sits. If that's the case and he's rolled out, Dwayne Dedmon, who is already out, right? Dwayne Dedmon could be a streaming option? That can't be right. That's a blurb from NBC Sports Edge. That can't be right. Dedmon's already out. So I guess I'm leaning towards Adebayo playing. If he didn't, all hell's about to break loose. Nikola Jovic is somebody that I guess would benefit. The good thing about this game is it's the first game at lock. So we'll have enough time to react when the dust officially settles. I'm going to go off of what we have and just assume that everyone's in. And when these guys are in, sans Kyle Lowry, well, let's run a wowie. Got to look at Jimmy Butler as a guy that's going to lift the usage load. And on FanDuel, Jimmy Butler is $9,600, $8,700 on DraftKings. Does have a projection that is in contention, I guess, to be in top 5. Like I think first runners like Giannis, maybe John Morant, guys like that. But you don't go that far until you get to Jimmy Butler's name. So it's Giannis and everyone else in my projections in the 40s. So let's go pull up an official wowie here. Let's take off Lowry. Kyle Lowry, NBA Lowry. Let's put Butler on. I guess let's put Butler Hero, and I'll leave Adebayo chilling. I just kind of want to see how these two are gelling together. Heat lineup is clustered. It is. How many Bam Adebayos would it take to kill a full-grown tiger? Man. It would take 10 Adebayos, 7 Serge Ibaka's, and 1 Boban. Butler and Hero on, Lowry off. There's not a ton of minutes at all. 23.5% usage rate for Butler, 26% for Hero. The points per minute, as you might expect, Jimmy Butler through the roof. Let's maybe put a little bit more longevity on this. Take it to the beginning of last season. See what happens. You think 4, 3? I think it would take 7. I mean, I guess that would have to be a very let's be honest. You send 7 Adebayos out there against that Tiger. 7 ain't coming back, but you're gonna need at least 7 to get the results that you want. Like, I think 2 probably died. 1's probably injured for life. So, yeah, $1.25 fantasy points per minute since the beginning of last year for Butler, 28% usage rate. So I think with a little bit of time, that's sustainable stuff. So I expect Butler to be the guy that I want the most of here. And with the Houston Rockets, my favorite stat about the Rockets is they're fast and they are really, really sloppy. They allow the most steals per game in all of basketball, and they are up there as well in terms of blocks per game. So a guy like Jimmy, Mr. Steal Your Girl, 1.7 steals per game, leads the Heat. So it's a good spot for him to rack up some +3s on FanDuel. So I do like that. And then just whoever ends up actually playing is probably going to project as a solid stocking stuffer. Sub 5K Max Strus. I'm getting about a 30 fantasy point projection, 4-game slate. Remember, we don't have to be as ceiling oriented as we do on a slate like last night. So 25 to 35 window is something that I think keeps you alive throughout a tournament. And then Caleb Martin, the same song and dance here. So the entire Heat lineup is in play. It's going to come down to what the lineup actually is. And I expect that rotation to be really, really, really short. The Rockets side, we're still dealing with the lowest total on the slate, and the Rockets are the second lowest total on the slate, and the Rockets kind of have an uphill battle already in terms of playability for DFS based on their wide range of outcomes and how many people are involved in their rotation. Well, when we do get to guys, it's obviously guys like Şengün. Per minute is nuts. 6.3K. There's room, meat on the bone for that. Would certainly love to spot for him more if Adebayo sat this one out and softened up that interior defense. And then Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, Eric Gordon, just kind of spin the wheel, make a deal between those guys. None of them become a priority for me, but I understand on the 4-game slate, you probably have to leave your comfort zone a little bit, and where they fall, they fall. But Şengün would be the most intriguing option for me, more so if Adebayo did sit this one out. What do you make pickle bread with? Okay, buddy. Almost read that one out loud. Yo, Pluto, appreciate the sub, man. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a good day. 17 bowls? You think 17 bowls? Okay, 1 bowl sounds, I don't know, somewhere in the middle. I believe Manute Bowl killed a lion. I can see that. Don't roster Chris Paul tonight. He got stuck in. Okay, what is happening in chat right now? All right, let's move on to game number 2 here. Memphis Grizzlies hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. Project starting 5 for the Bucks: Javon Carter, Grayson Allen, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez taking on Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, John Concher, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Stone Cold Steven Adams. It's gonna get you one board. What? 226.5 total, 2.5 point spread, favor of the home team, Memphis Grizzlies. It is not often you watch a Bucks game featuring Giannis presenting them as the dogs, but here we are. So, assuming that there's no secret squirrel stuff happening here, what we do know about the Bucks tonight is they will be without Drew Holiday, and they're going to roll out Middleton, Giannis, and Brolo. So I ran some on-off court tools earlier while we were talking about some of the no-house advantage prop lines that were available. And what I found was Middleton had an over 30% assist rate straight up without Drew Holiday since the beginning of last year. So maybe we find some value in Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton assist lines out there. Middleton on PrizePicks is at 5 assists. Let's do a stat muse. Chris Middleton assist by game log without Drew Holiday. Let's go last 10 games. Chat, who you know who could type like that? 3, 5, 4, 5, 7, 11, 9. All right, and I also want to see what this number is with and without Giannis as well. So Middleton without Jrue Holiday this year, 30.9% assist rate, or since the beginning of last year, a 30.9% assist rate, and then tightening it up to this season, which is going to give us exponentially less minutes, 41. It's still over 30%. So do like that. Let's go back since the beginning of last year, and then let's put Giannis back on the court and see what that does. Because there might have been some Middleton, no Giannis, no Jrue games. My G WOM is 85. Usually, not usually, but the last time I tested, I was at 140. With Giannis, it goes to 27%. So that's still high enough for me to be somewhat interested in the over of assists for the assist there. The other night, Javon Carter floated into high levels of chalk, and I wasn't that enamored by it because I did feel like this was at least a two-headed monster, if not a three-headed monster, in the per-minute production for Javon Carter on that slate, which is not something I was all that thrilled to get to, but I understand it, and today there's probably even less value than that night, so I'm getting a okay enough projection, 26-24, kind of run-of-the-mill results of what you would want at that price. Let's put Carter on the court with these cats, see what happens. 140 is nuts. So I used to work in law enforcement, and when I was transferring districts, I was wanting to maybe just do dispatch stuff for a bit, and I submitted my resume with the certified typing results, and they thought I was lying. I was like, why would I lie about that? So I actually called me in to test in front of their eyes, and of course proved them. But yeah, if you type too fast, people just won't believe you. Check this out. With Middleton, with Giannis, Javon Carter on the court since the beginning of last season, a quarter of a fantasy point per minute. That's crazy. 78 minutes of sample size for that. So if that ownership number for him gets too high, I will probably sit that one out and just look at the Miami Heat or maybe some other spot to not feel like I need to get to Javon Carter. Grayson Allen's a little bit intriguing, but again, kind of the same, but not as pessimistic am I. Grayson Allen is 0.68 to 7 fantasy points per minute in that split since the beginning of last year. I'd be okay with some shares of that. And then in the front court, Bobby Portis around 6K on both sides. I'm getting a similar projection to Şengün. I would imagine, actually I don't know, I haven't looked at ownerships yet, but I would imagine they would be competitive in the projection, and people just might lean Şengün a little bit more. But I'm waiting for Adebayo news to really unlock what I want to do with Şengün there. And then Pat Connaughton, 3,900 on FanDuel, 3,700 on DK. I did fall into some Connaughton in single entry the other day as a pivot to Carter, and it was all right. And I like the fact that Connaughton can kind of fill up the stat sheet. 18 fantasy points, wasn't great, wasn't terrible. We did that in almost a point per minute. Would want some more time. Did that game that got a little sideways at the end. Let me see what the closing lineup looked like. Auto lock. Back-to-back streams. It's 3 days in a row, Sen. Yo, I'm gonna need y'all to put some respect on me here. The only reason why we went on a stream sabbatical is because I was so busy at this time slot. Today it opened up. I don't know that we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see. Alright, so what's up with the minute logs here in this game? It's not back. Alright, well, we'll just sit that one out. But I wouldn't mind putting Connaughton in like the risky value pool for me in this spot, just somebody that can stuff the stat sheet. On the Memphis side, Ja Morant, I have him as second, I believe, to Giannis in median projection right now. Barely above Zion, and I love Zion a lot tonight, and Zion's a little bit cheaper, but you might find me in the streets with some Ja Zion lineups and maybe forego Giannis, just see what happens, because I do think Giannis is always going to draw some ownership, and like I said, raw points on a slate like this matters. So if Giannis is a top 3 scorer, top 1 scorer, you're live, but just looking for ways to get a little bit different, and with no Jrue Holiday, it's just a plus spot for him. Yeah, the Memphis being favorited is so crazy to me. It's not like I understand it, but it's just like I'm not used to looking at Bucks as a dog here. Jaren Jackson Jr. about 8K on FanDuel, 7,600 on DK. So Jaren Jackson, one of the highest blocks per minute guys really in history. I think I read he's already like top 10 in blocks on the season, and he's missed that much time. 8 blocks against the Atlanta Hawks, 5 blocks against OKC. Gets blocks. Against a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, blocks might turn into fouls, so I am worried about that. But does have a real shot at 40 plus fantasy points, so he makes the blender. But he's probably going to be tier 3 just because I am concerned about maybe him getting into foul trouble. But to his credit, we haven't seen that as much this season. But I think with anyone that's a high block player, it's risky. Let's see. Jaren Jackson, DKP by game log. Let's go versus Giannis Antetokounmpo. I just want to see what kind of foul trouble he maybe has been in historically against the Bucks. 5 fouls in his last 3 games, 27, 31, 29 minutes. So that's about what you would expect. So some that might make me pessimistic on Jaren Jackson if his ownership got a little too high is the potential for foul proneness. And then Adams versus Brolo. What a distinct difference in archetype of centers that these two are. Brolo is a little bit intriguing just because we know when Ja Morant's on the court, he'll drive to the rack, and the Grizzlies do surrender a decent enough chunk of blocks per game. And speaking of Ja Morant being a block guy, Brolo's a big block guy. The Grizzlies allow the 4th most blocks per game in basketball. Here's a guy that's already averaging just about 3 per game. So for FanDuel, might be able to put Brook Lopez in our back pocket and maybe start us off with like a plus, a 9 fantasy point projection on blocks alone. So I don't mind a little bit of Brolo. What is, let's see, Brolo without Drew, does he take any type of jump forward? It might positively correlate with like a Chris Middleton assist over, but I'm not gonna run to it. Rolo is over a point per minute, 1.1. So I think it's fair. I have a 31 minute projection on him. I think that's a fair projection. Rook. Maybe I do put Brolo in my back pocket here. Not taking a ton of shots, but I like the spot. What up, Cheyenne? Going Ja and Bobby Portis or Hero and Butler? Probably Hero and Butler, but I gotta imagine that's gonna come with exponentially higher ownership. I can't imagine Bobby Portis is gonna be that trendy. Ja maybe, but I don't think so either. So if it's like single entry and you're worried about ownership, Hero and Butler. But if you're long shot tournament, tons of less ownership, I believe, in the Ja and Bobby combo with decent projections. Bobby, I'm getting about 33 fantasy point projection and 50 on Ja. What was Butler at? Butler's at 46, so less than. I guess the combined medians here, we're getting 90 fantasy points between Butler and Hero, and then for Ja we're getting 50 and we're getting 80. So you're losing a margin of difference 10 fantasy points. So the projection wise I would go Hero and Butler, but ownership and standard deviation range of outcomes I would probably lean the second. But I'm not that enthralled with Bobby Portis. With this front court being healthy, I don't have a big enough minute projection on Bobby Portis to feel like I need to get there. If I was running a single entry, I'd be on Hero and Butler. Gonna be a block party in that game. Lots of rebounds then, right? Maybe take some rebound overs. We got Pelicans at the Utah Jazz. So this is my favorite game on the slate. Project 35 for the Pelicans. CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Zion Williamson, and Jonas Valanciunas taking on Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Marketing, Jared Vanderbilt, and Kelly Olynyk. 232 is our total 1.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Pelicans. So the other night, Pelicans actually were on the wrong side of a blowout, and that ended up costing Zion Williamson a ton of minutes. He also, I believe, was in early foul trouble. He picked up, let's see, Zion in the first quarter, 1 foul. and then 2 quick fouls. So he picked up 3 fouls in this like 5-minute stint at the end of the first, earlier the second, and that cost him a lot of the second quarter. And then, of course, without Zion on the court, bad things happen to good people. And then Zion also was part of the rest crew in the fourth quarter, so he only played 25 minutes. And if he's not in foul trouble, we know Zion in this split without Brandon Ingram could be live to play 34, 35, offered a 42-minute game against Phoenix, knowing so it's not like any type of minute restriction or a guy that they're got wrapped in bubble wrap right now. So I would say that it's fair to say he could have lost 10 minutes in a competitive game due to foul trouble and then the scoreboard. We go pull up that NBA Wowie tool, and we'll do, for aesthetic purposes, go to this season. You like Adams ducking? I can't see Adam. I can't imagine Adam is going to pick up too much ownership. Let's put Zion on the court. Let's take off BI. I think Ingram goes, or Zion goes from like a 29% usage. Huh. Here, what up, Onker, to 31% usage rate overall on a 1.4 fantasy point per minute production rate. Just insane. Another thing about Zion, and I mentioned this on the No House Advantage stream, he doesn't chuck a lot of threes, right? This is a guy that's going to take a ton of high percentage, mid-range to around the basket, in the paint shot opportunities. And that's significant because on the season, the Utah Jazz allow the most points in a paint per game in all of basketball, 56.3, above the Spurs, above the Pistons. So this is a dream matchup for a high usage guy that takes a majority of his shots in the paint. So I love Zion a lot, and I am already sitting around a 50 fantasy point projection. I think points per dollar and cost considered on a 4-gamer for him to be, $2,000 less than a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, and even cheaper than Ja Morant, essentially comes up with the same projection for me as Ja Morant, and then it's just a matter of how far below Giannis does he land, and what does that extra $2,000 afford me. For instance, there's probably going to be decent overlap between Giannis lineups and Javon Carter, and we've already talked about Javon Carter only having a quarter of a fantasy point per minute. And I think that extra $2,000 can upgrade at Carter. So I like Zion a lot, and I think I'm going to die tonight on the Zion hill because it's just that good of a spot. So give me Zion as one of my favorite studs to go up and pay up for today. While we're here, let's add CJ McCollum to this split. Somebody had asked about CJ McCollum's point prop. What did y'all say it was? 14.5? Something like that. In this split with McCollum and Zion, no BI. McCollum's at a 24% usage rate, a 23% assist rate. Very similar numbers with a little less usage as Zion. So I'd even say it's positively correlated and over a fantasy point per minute for him. Let's see. And 35% of his, he's shooting 35% from 3. So somebody that could correlate as maybe a pass out option for McCollum. So 14.5 is the line. That's close, but I like CJ here. CJ is 7,200. I'm looking for 40 on a good day. I'm getting right around 40 on both sides, so I would take that. I like this game a lot, and I might try and stack it to an extent. In that last outing, we saw Jared Vanderbilt be a massive play. If you landed on Vanderbilt in that game, congratulations to you, because that was huge. 49.5 fantasy points, 14 rebounds, 18 points, 6 assists. Just an incredible per minute production, insane efficiency, 8 for 9. But it is what it is. I think at 5,700, I'm still getting a solid projection per minute. I'm at 28, and that's usually a guy that's going to project well per minute. Not a guy I often get above a 25-minute projection, and as you see in his game log, he doesn't usually leave that 25-minute threshold much, but per minute, it's usually pretty doggone good. So outlier in terms of results, but today I could see him filling some lineups for me as well. And then Markkanen, Olynyk, I think these guys fall where they fall. I think Markkanen's going to fall less, significantly less, considering he's over 8K. But Olynyk at 6,200, Makes enough sense for me to bring back a little bit. And then Clarkson at over 7K. Now, Colin Sexton is down. Mike Conley being back is a plus. I think Mike Conley has a chance to play over his minute projection here as well, just because, remember that last game did blow out, and Conley left with halfway in the fourth quarter at 28 minutes. So if that game's more competitive, could Conley offer 32 to 34 minutes? I think it's possible. And we saw him get to a 30 to 34 minute area in November. So it's a good sign that he's already at 29 minutes, and for a ceiling minute projection hopeful in us without Colin Sexton, at least feel decent about that. 5,300 on DK. I'm fine with that projection. A lot of lukewarm, okay plays today that, 5x the price point, and I think he's just one of them, right? Clarkson, though. Clarkson's the one that I might not. Clarkson and Markkanen feel awkwardly priced to land at anything significant, but I guess on a slate like this where we're prioritizing floor, or I don't want to say prioritizing, on a slate like this where we still have to have a respect for floor, as less teams, less players, less likely that guys are going to drop 60 to 80. Maybe we fall to them a little bit more, right? 8 now, yeah. Let's get caught up. CJ for assist is a lock, says Yo Elvis. What's the assist line for CJ McCollum? 5. And we're rocking a 23% assist rate. I remember last year that assist rate was much higher, right? I feel like it was over 30%, but I guess that was without Zion ball handling last year. So far this year, it hasn't been the case. Let's see. NWA night, you think so? Injury report for Draymond tomorrow? I did not. Quad separation anxiety from Steph? No. Fan is he's on one right now, ain't he? Oof. Yeah, so last year without Zion, McCollum was pushing 27 to 28%, or excuse me, over 30% on the assist rate. But we have seen that drop significantly. I say significantly, but from a 30% area to 25%. I mean, I think that's a 23%. And I think that's directly correlated with Zion being a ball handler in his own right. So 5 assists for McCollum here. The 230 total might lean me to go over on that line. I think 5 is a solid push opportunity. What do I have McCollum at? I'm at 6, so I would lean the over, but I wouldn't say I'm ridiculously confident in it. But I like the idea of push at worst, kind of, And then we got one game left on the docket. So we keep talking about PrizePicks. We have to plug them. If you guys aren't on PrizePicks, you absolutely should be. Good way to reduce the stress of a massive slate like last night, and make the sweat a little simpler, right? Instead of sweating out 8 guys in a lineup, and the late lock news, the news that comes out throughout the night. It's a good way to keep your phone in your pocket, go out with the boys, and just kind of keep back and forth between the scores and what you need. So if you sign up using code GUNDACKER, they will double your first deposit up to $100, and that's really cool. $20 becomes $40, $50, $100, and then $100 becomes $200. Instant site credit, no slow drip, nothing like that. And then you can mix and match not just NBA, but we have NFL tonight, so you could pair something with NFL. And my favorite distinction about PrizePicks versus some of the other sites where you can bet the individual player props is they allow you to bet against fantasy scores, and they chop it first half, second half as well. And I think that's where we should lean on the most in terms of edge. And their fantasy points is 1-to-1 linear to FanDuel scoring. So if you have a projection source for FanDuel scoring, you could just cross-reference the FanDuel fantasy projection to what is available on PrizePicks. So check them out, and if you sign up using my code, you get the bonus. And then, of course, they help out the channel as well. Let's go to the main event tonight. The Phoenix Suns taking on the LA Clippers. Project starting five for the Suns: Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Torrey Craig, and Bismack Biyombo, the Big Mac Bimbo, maybe. Could also be Jock Landale, I guess. Clippers project starting lineup: John Wall, Terrence Mann, Nick Batum, Marcus Morris, and Ivica Zubac. We got a 216 total and a 5-point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. So this was one of those games that I thought could be a nightmare for us to deal with today, because there were so many ifs and ands and this and questionables. But we got a lot of news for this one, considering what we usually get for the late games. So starting with the Suns: DeAndre Ayton out, Devin Booker in. That's a plus. Cameron Payne, we already know, is out. Cameron Johnson out. And then for the Clippers side, we don't have to wait around wondering if Paul George is going to play, quiet, anything like that. We know Norman Powell, Kawhi Leonard, Reggie Jackson, Paul George is out. And then Ivica Zubac is a GTD, and that's certainly one that's going to be important. But if I had to lean one way or the other, last night Zubac left and didn't come back. And I feel like on the night two of a back-to-back, especially when the Suns are already down their center, if I was a betting man, I would lean towards him not playing and go from there. So that's how I'm approaching it from this far out. Certainly I could be wrong and Zubac could play, and I'm not being irresponsible with this projection now. But with that being said, Zubac's not been somebody that I expect to play an exorbitant amount of minutes lately anyway. 17 to 20 in his last 3 games. Certainly could break that 30-minute threshold, and maybe without all those guards as possible. But right now I'm just going to be cautious, and if I lose to Zubac tonight, I guess I just lose to Zubac tonight. And what that does for the rest of this Clippers lineup is John Wall, who rested last night, is now your de facto ball handler, likely your starting point guard. And what do we do with John Wall? He feels a lot like Mike Conley when it comes to projection. Is there a pathway for John Wall to surprise us with his minutes played tonight? We haven't seen him burst through that 30-minute threshold, but we also really haven't seen him have to deal with play with all these guys out. And we also have Luke Kennard out as well, right? So I don't know. I would say that there's a slight chance you might be surprised with John Wall's minutary tonight. With that said, matchup's not going to be a great matchup by any stretch. But I do like his per-minute projection. And I think my John Wall exposure, I would be looking at him versus Mike Conley in terms of ownership, maybe more so as a late slate thought process. But I do kind of like the thought of John Wall. 40 fantasy points against Charlotte in 27 minutes. So we know that there is somewhat of a ceiling there if it has to be tapped out of him. Let's run an official query from NBA Wowie. And let me get caught up on chat. Going for the after hours on FanDuel. If building one lineup, which you play Jock Landale, Biyombo, or Brown if Zubac is out. All only center eligible. So I guess I would lean to which one of the Suns' big starts. I think Landale is the most alluring to me, but I'll dive into that in just a second, Cheyenne, in terms of getting the actual math so that it's not a gut answer, you know. Let's go John Wall this season. And let's just take off everyone, basically. Reggie. What's that Eminem lyric? Here's the list of the order that it's in for the outs. It goes Reggie, Paul George, Kawhi, and Zubac. Some boomer out there just got that, and just know I appreciate you, and this brisk is for you. So went on the court this season for John Wall without some of these other ball handlers. 176 minutes, over 1.1 fantasy point per minute on DraftKings and FanDuel, with a 32.5% usage rate and a 41% assist rate. That's beautiful, and that's in line with what we know historically for John Wall. Do we have any lines for John Wall? No, we do not. Indubitably. All right, cool. So, yeah, I ought to get to some John Wall. What do we do with the rest of this lineup? So, we talked about Zubac. Luke Kennard is also questionable. Let me see if we can get a lean on Mr. Kennard. Luke Kennard, right calf strain is questionable. That's all we got. If Kennard cannot play, we're looking at Terrence Mann, Amir Coffey, Brandon Boston Jr. Obviously, I would lean the most of Terrence Mann. And right now, I think Terrence Mann is grading out as like an incredible value play no matter what, especially on DraftKings, just from a per-minute production. But I guess it wouldn't be something we haven't seen Amir Coffey do. So let's give Amir Coffey... Let's look at historical Amir Coffey with 25 minutes. Amir Coffey, DKP by game log with 25 minutes. Let's go last 100 games. What up, CT? Is this right? 7, 17, 26, 15, 64, 60. So this is probably like ridiculousness. Playoff games. Who was in that happened? Oh yeah, good God! Look at this lineup: Amir Coffey, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, Zubac, and Roko playing. What? Yo, what happened here, y'all? Anybody remember this game? 138-88. The Thunder had 6 men. 43. What? Holy cow! I think I remember this. I remember, the Xavier Simpson, and then I couldn't pronounce this guy's name to save my life. Still can't. All right, so that's where your upside game from Amir Coffey came, and then a similar outcome. So I guess there's a massively wide range of outcome for what Coffey might do in 30 minutes of play. But I tend to trust Terrence Mann a little bit more. Nick Batum, Marcus Morris, we're not going to have the warm and fuzzies, but I'm getting a decent enough projection on both. I think we ran the Marcus Morris usage. It was in the 20s, right? Nothing massive, but points per dollar on a 4-game slate, it is what it is. Give me all 4 of them again tonight. 50 minutes this season, 0.6 fantasy points per minute. Is that right? Or did it just adjust? Yeah, okay. All right, on the Suns side, so no Ayton. I imagine this is going to allow us to spike Devin Booker's usage well above 30% again. Batum, Wall, Coven. That's a lineup right there. And I guess we would also have to ask ourselves, what do we do for a Devin Booker minute projection, huh? Oh, why am I doing this? Booker. 36 minutes on December 9th. So I guess we don't have too much of a fallout. It's a hammy injury, but I can't imagine they would make him come back or allow him to come back without. So I'd go back to a 34 minute projection. Right now we got 35. So that's fine. No reason for me to change that. 5-point spread, and then usage rates for Booker in this split: 31.5%, $1.25 on the per minute production. Just very reasonable per minute production and usage to attack. And then we got a 43% assist rate for Chris Paul in this split as well. So if Chris Paul has a sub 10 assist prop, and he does at 9.5, I'd be fine with taking that. And then front court, Biyombo and Jock Landale. So I have right now more minutes on Jock Landale's name than I do Biyombo's name. And I think, the question on which one to play, I think my answer would just be which one starts. But let's see if we can't at least give you a mathematical per minute answer, if that makes sense. So let's go Landale this season per minute for DraftKings over 105, 107 on FanDuel with a 21% usage. And then Biyombo, Landale off. Should I pick McCollum or Chris Paul and FanDuel? I probably lean to McCollum. High total, and will be right there with Zion. Biyombo has less per minute, has about 6% less usage in this split, and then 0.96 per minute. So my answer mathematically would be Jock Landale if we put the same minute projection on both of them, but I would feel more comfortable about the starter having a higher minute projection. So right now, I would, to answer your question, Cheyenne, I would lean Landale, but that's got an opportunity to change based on the official starting lineup that comes out. And that's our slate today. Anything real quick, I'll get you guys out of here. If you're not going to join me in the Discord at rundfs.com, definitely go check out the deeper dive. It's going to be on the Stochastic channel. Would you play Landale and Biyombo in the same lineup? 3,600 on DraftKings is very possible. I think it's possible. That would be a unique lineup, right? Because they're both projecting for 20 to 24, and then that would save you a ton of salary. It's not like center stack today, and at least in DraftKings standpoint, the guys that I love, Zion's a forward eligible. So yeah, I think you could get away with it on a 4-gamer shot like Harden. That's a good question. Should I pick McCollum? Yep, McCollum. All right, cool. All right, Timmy says, back in the day, John Wall was the top scorer before all his injuries. Got to score tonight. The Clips have any chance of winning? I would agree with that. Who should I pick up for Fantasy League? Man, but Tom, Biyombo, Landale. I would probably go Landale. Batum? Oh, is that Batum? Nick Batum? Terrence Mann, Batum, Biyombo, Landale. I probably want Terrence Mann 1, and then Jock Landale 2, and then we go from there. All right, hey, twitter.com/Gundacker. I appreciate you guys giving me part of your afternoon to hang out a little bit. I'm heading behind the rundfs.com paywall, the Discord. I'm going to close you out with the Young C Gundacker song. This is a hype song. Hit that thumbs up before you get out of here. All I ask in this crazy world, tell somebody you love them. I love you. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.
Hey, Gun. Yeah. They know what time it is.
I got so much energy.
Gun Decker, you know how we coming, yeah, it's run DFS where we don't just play it, we run it. Whether for the long, couple dawns, a couple of buckets, guaranteed to chat, check a bag like we carrying luggage round here. Everybody fam, we don't care about the budget round here. You can turn your cash to a couple of hundred round here. No days off, every day we be hustling, tell them good luck, God bless, go win you some money. Get a pen and a pad and come see where it really take you. Went from 50-50 cash in a hit in the milli maker. Got the updated news and the status on any player. The chalk of the night, do we lock it or do we fade it? They ask me how I'm doing, I tell them I feel it blessed. If you want a slow grind, go place a single bet. Trying to get rich, parlays or boost the odds. Soon you'll be cashing and dancing with the stars. NBA, NFL, the MLB up in VIP, balling like we want a GPP. 15 minutes to lock, and there's a DMP, no sweat. We gon' figure that out and we'll still bing. But remember that it's a marathon and not a race. You gotta put your heart in it no matter how long it takes. 8, 9, 10 next got me sitting in first place. Top value player today, let's break the slate.